So we are going to start building the next section of this web page, and this section is going to have a text and the image. Okay, we're going to have a text on the left hand side and the image on the right hand side. Okay, so just go, as you can see here, I added another image, and this image is, you can see, pizza.jpg, and this image is also large before, but I resized it. So if your image is too big, you can resize it in your system. Okay, so like I said, we are going to be building we're going to start building the next section of this web page in this video, and this, and like I said, it's going to consist of a image and a text. So as usual, we need to create another container underneath the first container, but before we do that, we need to create a line. Okay, we need to create a line to separate the section at the top and the section underneath it. So to just create a line, you just use your HR tag, say HR, and this is a self-closing tag, and this will automatically create a line underneath the section. It's going to create a line underneath this section here. So if we go down here and refresh this now, we refresh, if we go down, if you look closely, you can see the line underneath this section. So this is the line here. I just wanted to separate it. So let's add our container. So say div class container, div class of container, and inside this container, as usual, we have a row. Div class of row, and then after a row, and gets a column, div class of column. And this time, like I said, this is going to be a section of 2 columns. So remember, we have been using even columns. We have been using a columns of 50% and 50%. We have been using a column of 33.33% and a 33.33%. So let's go down here now. Let me show you something here. Like, as you can see, column 6, remember we used a width of 50% before for 2 columns, but this time we're not going to be using even columns. I want one column to be bigger than the other column. So the column that is having our text will be bigger than the column that is having our image. So I'm going to use column 7, which is going to take a width of 58.33%. So this column will be bigger than the image column. Okay, so I'll put column 7, and now, as always, one thing I want to do here, I'm going to wrap this paragraph inside an article elements. So say article, and I'll explain this, don't worry, and we'll put our paragraph in there. So what this article is doing, the kind of content you put inside of an article, there are contents like blog posts, comments, or like a news article. It's built to put article types of materials in there. Okay, so we can also put a paragraph in here. You can also see the article like a container. So if it's just like a block element. So if we add another article down here, it will stack upon each other. So it's just like a block element. So we are using it now to contain our paragraph. Okay, so inside this paragraph, we're going to be having some text in here. So we're going to be having this dummy text once again. So I will say lorem. We have done this before. Lorem 50. Now hit enter. Then we have our text. This is 50 text. So any number you put there, that's the number you get. So let's just quickly refresh this on our web page and see how this is looking. Refresh now. And let's go down. You can see this is our line. You can see the line, the HR tag. So this is the line, and this is our text. You can see this is a width of 57 points. I don't know. Let's check if you can remember here. This is the width of 58.33%. Okay, so that is the width. So this is, you can see this is the text here. You can see it's coming all the way here to the screen. So we'll be adding our image here. So let's continue on in building this. So as you can see this text here, I want this text to be a little bit bigger than this paragraph inside this box. I want this particular text to be different, okay? I want it to be bigger. Okay, and I want some space. You can see how it's too close. It's too close to the left hand side of the screen. So I want to have some space there. So to do that, first thing we'll do, let's go to our index.html. We are going to give I don't think we need a class. Let's just go to our default styles and style this. So on our default styles, inside our default styles, where we have our paragraph, let's check for our paragraphs. So we'll say article. Remember, our paragraph is inside of our article. So we'll say article, and then we'll call the paragraph element. And then let's style it now. And this styling is going to affect only the paragraph that is inside of the article, that is inside of an article. So you can see we call the parent, which is the article, and now we are calling the child, which is the paragraph. The article, this styling now is going to have an effect on only the paragraph that is inside an article, inside of our web page. So all other paragraphs won't have this effect. So what we are going to do, we are going to give the font size, say font size of 30 pixels. Let's see 30 pixels. Let's refresh and see how this is looking. Refresh. Yeah, this is looking good. This text is big enough for me. Yeah, you can see this text, this paragraph here is different from the paragraph inside of this box. So that is that. So the next thing we need to do here, we need to give it a padding. Like I said, I want some space on that text. So we'll say padding of 20 pixels. Padding of 20 pixels. Let's see how this is looking. So before I refresh this, I want some space here. So that's why I'm giving it a padding of 20 pixels. Refresh. Now you can see now I'm now having a space here on the right hand side, and there's also padding all around. So the reason I didn't use margin is because I don't want this column to shift all the way here, because when using a margin, it will force the element and it will shift it. So because I want to be adding another element here, which is the image, so that is why I didn't use the margin. So I'm using padding. So padding will just add a little space to the element, to our paragraph element. So that's why I didn't use the margin. So the next thing we need to do here, as you can see here, it's still inheriting the line height. You can see the space. You can see the space between these texts. You can see the space between the top of the text and this one. You can see the space. So that is the line height. That is this line height here. It's still inheriting the line height from the paragraph we set before. So it's still inheriting this line height of 1.2. So the next thing we need to do here, we need to add the image, and this is going to be another column. But as usual, this is going to be as you can notice here, I didn't put a row, so I need to put a row. After our container, we need to have a row, of course. I forgot that. Don't just forgive me, I forgot that. So after our row, inside this row now, we need to add another column. Okay, so inside your row, just do this. We need to have another column. So say div class column. This time, let's see the column we need to use. Like I said, the text column is going to be bigger than the image column. So let's see here. What we'll be doing here is that we are going to be using column 5. You see, column 7 is more bigger than column 5, so this will equal it to 100%. It will take the whole width of the screen. So we use column 7 width of 58.33% for our text, and now we are using a width of 41.66% for our image. So we are going to be using the class of column 5. So we'll say column 5, and then let's do this. Let me create some space here. So we are going to be adding a div. As always, you know, this is always important to wrap your element inside of a div, because we might be styling this in the future. So say img source. Our source is pizza, and this image is a pizza image, pizza.jpg. It's a JPEG image. Now let's see how this is looking on our web page. Refresh now. This is looking brilliant. Wow, we haven't even added any stylings, but this is looking brilliant like this. This is looking good. Yeah. But we need to add a styling to this image. As you can see, the image here is too close to this text, so I want to add a space. I want to make sure that this image is centered in its column. Okay, it's centered on the column. I want to make sure it's centered there. Okay, so what we need to do here, I can just grab this image and style it. I can just grab the image and style it. But if I do that, it will have an effect in all the image inside of our web page. So we need to give this image a class. So let's just give it a class inside of the div. So we'll call it pizza. Oh, sorry, I didn't put a class. So we'll say class. We'll call it pizza container. That name is good. So we'll say pizza container. Yeah, pizza container. That's the name of our class. So let's just quickly go into our styles of CSS and style this. So we'll be doing this in our custom styles, of course. Our custom styles. Let's see how this is looking. Let's go to our custom styles. So underneath of our custom styles, so get our pizza container. Say dot pizza container, and let's go back to our index.html. So say the pizza container. No, let's call the div. Let's specify the div at first before our class. Say div.pizza container, and then let's style this. So because we want this image to be easy, to work with, because we want it to be easy to move around, we are going to display this in a block. Remember, when you want an element to be easy to move around, you always display it in a block. And the next thing we do here is we are going to give it a margin of auto. We're going to give it a margin of auto. And remember what this, because we want to center it inside of each column, we're going to give it a margin of auto. And remember what this property is doing. A margin of auto. Remember what it's doing. So let's go. Before I refresh this, let me explain this. As you can see, there's a lot of space here. So it will take this space, it will take this huge space here and distribute it evenly on each side of this image, and it will apply it. It will distribute it on each side of it will distribute it on each side of the image, which will automatically center the image inside of the column. Okay, so let's refresh this and see how it's looking. Refresh. I think this is looking good. It didn't really do anything. So I think the issue here is, you can see we just specified the container. This is just the container, so we didn't get the image. As you can see here, this is just the container. We just say div and the class of pizza container. We didn't get the image. So what are we working with? We need to since we want to get this image, we need to call the image. So we'll say after div.pizza container, what we need to do here, we need to call the image, which is img, because the image is what we are targeting. So let's refresh this and see how it's looking. Refresh. Now you can see there's a little space here. It has distributed the spaces evenly on each side of the image. So that is the work of the margin auto. It will help center the image inside of the column. So this is looking brilliant here. Everything here is looking brilliant. Okay, so the next thing we need to do here is we need to make this section mobile responsive, just like all other sections. So in the next video, we are going to be making this section mobile responsive. So I'll see you guys in the next